Hello and welcome to another video for GCSE and IGCSE accounting on the topic depreciation. Now, the way I see it, a lot of people get depression from depreciation. Get it? That's the joke. Okay. Very quickly, let's start off with what is depreciation. So you see the word depreciation, okay? You've got the prefix D. So do you know the word decrease, descend? So anytime you have this D word at the beginning, you've got something that goes down, all right? Similarly, depreciation means that the value of the asset is going down. Now, we all know why, we all know that assets value goes down, right? So first off, let's talk about the different kinds of assets we have. Now, we have say cars, okay? We've got mobile phone, all right? We've got an oil rig, okay? So these are all different types of assets. Now, based on the type of asset, right? There are common factors that cause depreciation. So when you're using a car for a long time, right? Do you have something called wear and tear? Wear and tear basically means that your car got tired, damaged, okay? You'll see the tires, they're a bit worn out. They're not new, right? The other thing is you've got something called obsolescence, okay? Now, obsolescence, I don't know if I got the spelling right, but obsolescence is basically when the technology has become outdated and therefore it's no longer to be used. The other factor could be depletion. Depletion is basically when the asset eventually fades away. So there are non-renewable and renewable sources of energy, right? And resources. So basically depletion comes for those non-renewable resources, and they're not infinite, so eventually they go to zero. So it's you have a water tank and then you keep pumping water up, so eventually it's going to go to zero, right? That's what it is, right? So these are the causes for depreciation. You've got wear and tear, obsolescence, depletion, and the other most common factor is time factor. So to sum it up, depreciation is when the value of an asset is going down. Why does it go down? Because of wear and tear, obsolescence, depletion, and time factor. Time factor basically means due to passage of time, eventually most assets erode or fade away or decrease in value, right? Okay, so the formal definition is depreciation is the allocation of cost of an asset over its useful life or its working life. Now, allocation means we are providing an amount of value that decreases per year. So say, for example, I bought a Nokia phone for 100,000, all right? That's very expensive Nokia phone, but yeah. Every year, I believe that the value will go down by 20K. So this is what I'm allocating, okay? So I believe that it's going to run for 5 years, and each year, 20K, 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 okay? And there could be a fourth and a fifth year, right? So the formula is also based, the definition is also based on the formula. So you have the formula for straight line method given here, which is basically cost of the asset, the purchase price, minus the scrap value. So scrap value is basically what you sell the asset for at the end of its useful life. So you know how you have those recycled places, or you sell those, empty, secondhand stuff. So scrap value is exactly that, the resale value at the end of the asset's life. You'll see a lot of time there are these airplanes, junkyard, or there's these cars that get sent to the steel refinery for making new cars. Okay, divided by useful life. So useful life is sometimes called as useful economic life. So this is like the the years under which the asset can be used. All right. So there are three formulas over here that I want you guys to look at. So depreciation is value of an asset going down, all right? So depreciation has, all right, I'm just gonna like move it here. So depreciation has three formulas, okay? So you've got like the straight line, you've got the reducing balance, and you've got the revaluation method. And we're going to be covering all of them one by one. Okay. So straight line method, right, is basically where you have the formula cost minus scrap value divided by useful life. So this is when you believe that the asset's value is decreasing by a consistent or equal amount every year. So you see the previous example I gave you of Nokia where it's decreasing every year equally. So that's an example of a straight line method. Now, again, you got to notice that straight line method can be either the formula of cost minus scrap value divided by useful life, or it could be cost into the percentage policy. Now remember, this is like a fraction form. For printing purpose, I put it here, but let me just put this here. Useful life. I don't know if my handwriting is like being really problematic, but okay. So these are the two formulas within straight line method, and based on the kind of figures that you're given, you're going to use it. They're going to be very clear to you. Like they'll tell you that, oh, we use a depreciation policy of 20% per year, or they're going to say that we're using a useful life of 5 years. So 5 years and 20% are basically the same thing. The other thing that you got to consider is reducing balance. Now, this is what people find a bit harder. So reducing balance is also called the diminishing method, where you have the formula as cost means purchase price minus total depreciation or accumulated depreciation into percentage. So the way it goes is like first year is cost minus 0, because in the first year, the asset is brand new. So the total depreciation or the total decrease in value is 0 into percentage. The second year, you have your cost minus your first year's answer, which is like your first year's depreciation of A, into percentage. The third year is where you have the first year and the second year's depreciation. Okay? So let me just show you with the Nokia example. So if I use Nokia example over here, reducing balance method of 20%. So say it was 100K, that's the cost price, minus 0 into 20% for the first year. You'd get like something 20K for the first year depreciation. The second year's depreciation, okay? The second year's depreciation would be 100K minus the first year's depreciation minus 20K into 20%. Which should give around 16K, okay? I'm a mathematical god. Right. The third year, you've got 100K minus 20K minus 16K into 20%. And then you should get your answer, which, now this one will be a bit difficult. I'm going to just use my calculator. I always say that man's best friend is calculator. So 100 minus 20 minus 16 into 20%. So you should get around 12.8K. That's assuming I got this figure right. But do you get like the method and all that? It's fine. Okay. So, I've got an example here. That's brilliant. Right. So for example, bought a machinery worth 50,000 back in 2018. The asset's total provision for depreciation is 20K. So basically you bought a brand new asset at 50K. And the total depreciation that was given till today was 20K. So currently, the asset's value is 50K minus 20K equals to 30K. It's very simple. If you bought a phone back in 2018 for 100, would you say like, oh, my phone is 100 today? Nah. If it's like 100K in 2018, it's definitely decreased in value. So you can see over here that cost minus depreciation, the percentage, I've got 7,500. Then I've used it for like, oh, you see over here, like that's the formula that I use for 2021. Cost minus total depreciation into percentage. So this is my 2021's depreciation. So the asset decreased by a further 7,500. Then we've got in 2020, the value of the asset is 50K, minus 20K is 30K, as I've showed previously. And now after 2021, one more year later, it's decreased by 7.5K and it's gone to 22.5. Okay, another thing you gotta notice here is that if I use straight line method, right? Say when I used the straight line method for Nokia, it was 20, 20, 20. It was equal every year. For straight reducing balance method, it will start off really high, but it's going to decrease year on year. Now, why do people use reducing balance method? Because some assets, right, they decrease in value at a higher rate. Like say your mobile phone, within 1 year, it's gonna lose like 30-40% of its value. But when it comes to your microwave oven, that's gonna take a longer time. So based on your asset, you can either use straight line method or reducing balance method. It all depends on the type of asset, and they're going to be very clear with you with what their policy is. Okay, it's going to be very reasonable. The last thing I want to show you is revaluation method. So revaluation method is when you consider the opening value, total purchases during the year, minus the closing value. For example, you had computers worth 10,000 at the beginning of the year. You bought more 5,000. Okay, so can you see that over here? Let me just squeeze it in. 5,000 more. So you've got like a total value of 15K. Now, okay. So once you've got like this 5K worth, okay, 15K. At the end of the year, the value was 12K. So if it was 15K and it fell down to 12K at the end of the year, the depreciation has to be 3,000. Now, how did it fall by 12K? Obviously, like the value was, reassessed or measured again at the end of the year. This is like to make sure it's fair. Because if, say, for example, you walk into your business and your manager tells you that the computer that you bought 10 years ago is worth, like 10 years ago, you bought it for like 10,000. Is it fair for him to say that, oh, the computer's value is 10,000 today? It's not. Because that if you go to sell this asset, right, it's going to be valued at 2,000 or something less than that. I'm sure you guys tried to sell something on your own and you've seen the value of what you bought and what you try to sell it for. That concept is depreciation. And in accounting, to make it fair, we try to record it every year. So that's all for it today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And please like, subscribe, and comment below if you need further clarification. Thank you for your support in this channel. Bye.